one of the old cliches of Oscar, and every year a bunch of clickbait hot takes are trotted out to find out the reason, but they never seem to come up with a concise conclusion. Why do comedies so rarely get the love of the Academy?
Is it that the Academy are just humorless old white dudes, bitter that their days of relevance are far behind them?
But there are probably many better reasons that have to do with Oscar's brand, society, and the nature of comedy itself.
So first of all, what constitutes a comedy is contentious when it comes to Oscar. There are a lot of dramas with some laughs.
So we've gone to IMDb and included any film with comedy in the genre section. Don't like it? Complain in the comments below.
So firstly, does the Academy really hate comedy?
Well, no, not really. Since 1970, 8 comedic films have taken out Best Picture. They are The Sting, Annie Hall, Terms of Endearment, Driving Miss Daisy, Shakespeare in Love, Chicago, The Artist, and Birdman. Yes, I hear you, pedants. Birdman is tragic, not funny. But it is labelled as a black comedy in most spaces.
So that's a success rate of just over 20%. And in the recognition stakes, 46 comedies have been nominated for Best Picture since 1970, which evens out to more than one per year, so that's also a pretty healthy number. But for those butthurt comedy fans, it's still enough of a disparity to leave us wondering, Oscar, why you no like comedy?
Wow, that's an outdated.
Well, just as we heard you complaining about Birdman or that Chicago is a musical, not a comedy.
Number 1, comedy, more so than drama, is a matter of taste. Dramas have many different objectives. To reflect the human condition, to move you, to tell a story. Comedies also have those same objectives, but with one difference. They have to do those things as well as make you laugh. And it's super hard to do that for everyone. For example, some people might laugh at this. It's a lot easier to make someone feel sad. Just look at this clip. It's different strokes and all that, and comedy is a hard art that does not land with everyone. And there are so few comedies, even comedians, genres, and larger types of comedies that could be considered funny by every single person. Except for maybe Monty Python. I've literally never met anyone who doesn't laugh at Python.
We are now no longer the knights who say, we are now the knights who say,
and if you don't like that, you can go yourself. But despite pretty much universal appeal, Monty Python's Holy Grail was a movie that got no Oscar love. Why? Because it's goddamn silly. That's why. And that is one thing that Oscar cannot stand for. Because...
Number 2. Oscar wants you to take it seriously, and comedy, sort of the opposite of serious. The Academy Awards are supposed to be, and are widely considered, the highest award in cinema. Like any awards, there are dodgy dealings, poor choices, Shakespeare in Love, and it's mostly crap, but it wants you to believe it's recognizing the very best in film. That means awarding movies that appear to be serious and important. You know, that resonate with society at the time. Shit that matters, yeah? Whereas comedy is posited as the opposite. Fun, frivolous, entertaining. Shit that by definition doesn't matter. Not to say all comedies don't matter. Hashtag all comedies matter. Comedies that win Oscars are also particularly relevant to the time in which they are made. For example, Robert Altman's MASH and Nashville both capture the isolation and absurdity of living in America during and after the Vietnam War.
So what kind of comedy does Oscar like?
So Oscar tends to go for comedies that can be universally appreciated as quality. Satires, black comedies, dramedies, comedies that have a serious side.
Here are our 3 rules to follow if you want laughs and Oscar attention.
Number 1, make your comedy universal, particularly something without dialogue, crosses language barriers, and anyone can find it funny. For example, The Artist particularly lended itself to universal appeal.
Number 2, comedy that is important with social relevance. Things like The Kids Are Alright, which came out in 2010 when Prop 8 and LGBT family issues were a major conversation topic.
Number 3, it helps if your film is an intellectual one. Adam Sandler movies or gross out Judd Apatow comedies don't tend to pull in Oscar. They tend to like more highbrow, perhaps elitist type things. Think Woody Allen or even Alexander Payne's movies like Sideways or The Descendants. It's smart thinking man's laughs.
But what would we know about comedy?
We're women!